Right, episode mu bibi akwa ban fambra 2K news and blogs on YouTube so as episode ya ban sem ahodo a ekoso e social media so de be so ahwefo ene atifo nya na episode de tin nyina nse ye be kwani akwa akwaje nsem nchemu wa abra che se Afenyo Markin ene che se NPP mpemfo na bi mu nyina ewom bi a mo de nsem bi atodwa afa John Mahama 120 days so far wedi na nse be koso make house order ma obu ne ndi kwaso so nya subscribe from my YouTube channel ya na wa subscribe de amame episode si me bun nsem nyina to fa de akere oni ewi ni akwa akweti ade tin nyina nse Afenyo Markin akere mi say what is say Ghanaians need light not lectures e we jande rami o ye ndie minim dictionary ko him wakeka nsem bibre pa ne nyina nse wo say kasa na doso se Mahama wo kasa na doso bro of utimi kasa kama ne mu maka wunuma ne say wo say je adwuma de wonye ba ko kra sufa was 120 days so baba say the NPP for so kra because time NPP is not doing so in Ghana but say doing so no worse say yenko nyankuti nsem matches Afenyo Markin e dia to dwane bi enfam ramidi e de kwampense
go to the hospitals and all they know is sacking the chief executives. Sack them. That is all that the ministers are doing. Targeting chief executives and sacking them instead of putting on the light. Home appliances are burning out. Livelihoods are vanishing. And the national mood is collapsing under the weight of government inaction. What we are seeing today is not intermittent disruption. It is a national emergency. And yet, the Mahama administration continues to offer excuses instead of solutions. Instead of resolving the problems, he recites blames like a broken record. Ghanaians deserve light, not lectures. Leadership is action, not endless lamentation and blame game. Mr. President, NDC government, bring back our light. You were not elected to lament. You were elected to do the work and fix the light and fix the problem. You promised in your sona that you were going to fix the problems. You are not fixing the problems. Fix the problems. Now, assault on the judiciary, the rule of law under siege. His Excellency promised, quote, reset the faith in leaders and institutions, end quote. I repeat, His Excellency promised reset of faith in leaders and institutions. But what do we see? He has instead launched a chilling offensive against the judicial independence, attempting to hound the Chief Justice out of office under contrived pretexts while pushing through a 7 hand-picked appointment to the Supreme Court. It has never happened in our democracy where the president makes a direct appointment and more or less coerces the Judicial Council to swiftly, whether they like it or not, approve of same. The practice has always been that nominations are made by various stakeholders. The Ghana Bar has an input. The Office of the Chief Justice has an input. The Judicial Council itself has an input. The government, the president acting through the Attorney General makes an input. And all these names are deliberated upon, discussed in detail, and a recommendation ferried to the president for further action. May I refer the government to the matter of Ghana Bar Association versus Attorney General, where Tadio Sori, the lead counsel for Ghana Bar, made strong arguments on this matter. It was a situation where the Judicial Council had made some recommendations in a certain order of merit for the president to exercise the discretion of appointment. And even so, the Ghana Bar questioned the exercise of discretion and argued, among others, that since there was an order of merit upon which the recommendation was mounted, the president couldn't have chosen from the bottom, because we have my Lord Mafosau, we had Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu, followed by my Lord Yawapao, and then lastly Mr. Scott Puaman, as he then was. Yet the president chose from the bottom two, and Ghana Bar challenged this at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruled that, well, that recommendation was an advice, and to the extent that all of those four individuals were recommended to the president could choose from the bottom. The president could choose anybody and was not bound by the order of merit. So clearly, a procedure, a practice as to how a justice of the Supreme Court is appointed is known. So why would the president write a letter that he's made appointment and urges that upon the Judicial Council to, at all costs, approve of same? This is very rich. The president and his government are not on a journey of reform. They are doing court packing. This is dictatorship disguised as democracy. And we, the minority, will not stand for it. Now, they are silencing dissent. The return of iron fists. They promised that they will allow free speech. But today, even political opponents are threatened. They will send their attack dogs on radio. When they think that you are being critical of them, they start to threaten you. Even journalists come under attack. The Secretary General of TUC, who boldly echoed the views of organized labor, is under attack. Even the views expressed by GBA also came under attack. And then they find a way of using social media to spread fake news and falsify information and crush genuine views expressed to shape governance. But let me remind Mr. President that in his own inaugural address, he called for accountability and promised to fight corruption. Yet, as I've already said, journalists are being harassed. Opposition MPs, like my brother John Mahama, recently became a target because he had raised a critical national issue, which required the security agencies to engage constructively. They personalized it and they made him a target. It was an eyesore when they unleashed NIB officials at his residence, wielding guns and wearing masks. Did we go or did we come? What we are experiencing is another vendetta, and this is not justice, an opportunity for all Ghanaians, rather persecution. They promise constitutional reform, but we don't trust them. What they are doing is not constitutional reform, but they are attempting to create a Trojan horse for perhaps, if not lifetime presidency, a third-term presidency. Already, we have heard the national chairman of the NDC complaining bitterly about the internal struggle for succession. The NDC is abandoning governance and rather thinking of their party interests. Why would the national chairman, no less a person than Mr. Asedu Nkatia, boldly go on radio in less than 90 days be talking about that internal problem? We are also aware that another group in the NDC are pushing for a third term for President John Mahama. It's a reason why, instead of the promised governance and constitutional reforms, we are seeing a new agenda. What we know is that there's a sinister and diabolical plot firmly underway to tighten the present grip on power and prolong his days in office. So they knew that the firmness of the Chief Justice will not allow this. So they started to unleash the attack dogs on the Chief Justice to try and clear out of the way so that they will have their way. But we, the minority, today tell the NDC government they will never have their way. We see diabolical schemes. We read the signals. And we say this clearly. Ghana is not a monarchy. We will not be ruled for life. We will not let one man's desire for autocracy and unchecked power rewire the constitution to suit the ambitions of a desperate party. So the hawks in the NDC who are so power drunk and are pushing through this third-term agenda, let them stay their hands. The other hawks in the NDC who are thinking succession and are not making it possible for the president to govern, and all they care about is their internal struggle for who succeeds him, we are telling them too that they are hurting the country. The government has already entered its lame dark days, looking at all the signs on the wall. This is affecting the ordinary people, and they should wake up to the reality of their bona fide governance. 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 We are wide awake. The NDC should not be under any false impression that with their 183 plus others in parliament, they will find a way of forcing their way with very unconstitutional reforms through parliament. The mighty minority will not allow them to have their way. We will stand firm with the people of Ghana and fight all illegalities in parliament. We trust that Mr. Speaker would accord us the necessary support to air our views on the floor of the House. Now, let me turn my attention to the private sector. The NDC is collapsing the private sector. The government is punishing producers. On the day of his inauguration, Mr. President called on business leaders to help him shape, quote, an environment where creativity thrives and where fruits of their labor contribute to the collective welfare of our nation, end quote. But 120 days, that appeal has cuddled into betrayal. Businesses across the country, small, medium, and large, are suffocating. Why? Because the very government that promised partnership has become a predator. Yep. Suppliers, contractors, service providers, Ghanaians who finance and fulfill government contracts with their own resources or bank loans have not been paid. Some have been forced to shut down. Others have laid off workers, and countless others have plunged into debt, despair, and ruin. This government is presiding over economic vandalism, masquerading as governance. When the government refuses to pay its debts, it collapses the very economy it claims to lead. Mr. President, you cannot pay the people of Ghana who have sacrificed to work to build our infrastructure, who have supplied to state institutions. You cannot decide not to pay them. This amounts to the government sabotage of business. NDC government, you are ruining the businesses you came to meet. Your actions are becoming a liability. Now, on the import duties, we go on these broken promises on import duties and the COVID-19 levy. In his inaugural speech, the president acknowledged the pain of Ghanaians, promising to change the destiny of this nation of ours. But this government continues to allow what he had called during his days in opposition, crashing levies and regressive taxes on the backs of the sovereign people of Ghana. He promised to review and reduce import duties to make easier for traders, importers, and consumers. He has not. He promised to abolish the COVID-19 health recovery levy because the pandemic is long past and the people's pockets are exhausted. He has not. Instead, this government has maintained and even compounded the cost of living for every Ghanaian household. Prices continue to surge. Markets remain unstable.